Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Nature Art, and today we are making this fantastic Rolodex waterfall for the Case for Nature altered book. Let's have some fun. So I had this idea that along with everything else we've created already, that I wanted something that represented a Rolodex, just the kind of thing a legal person would have on their desk, isn't it? So I'm using some more of the Tim Holtz backdrops to create a base for this page here. But also I want to cut some strips that are narrower than that base. These are going to form the mechanism for that waterfall. Now it's not long enough, so I've got to stick two pieces together. So I'm just using a little bit of double-sided tape here and some glue, and I'm just going to stick them together to create a longer piece so that it's long enough for me to create that mechanism. I'm just making sure it's all straight and lined up. And now I want to fold it. So you notice I'm folding it not in half. I'm leaving the back bit longer than the front bit. So I'm just placing it on the base there, and I just want to create a little bit of a border all the way around, but I definitely want that back bit because that's the bit we're going to pull. So it needs to be at least 1 centimetre longer than the front piece. And now we're just going to score. So I'm just using the marks on my scoreboard here. So I'm just going to take it across two lines on my scoreboard. And I'm going to keep going. So I'm not the back piece we're not touching. This is the front piece. And I'm scoring 10 times because I want to have 10 cards in my Rolodex waterfall. So we can see we haven't done anything on that back piece, we've just scored that front piece. I'm just going to ink all of that as well, just to make it easier for you guys to see as well. So you see that back piece is the bit we're going to pull, and those folds allow that to move. Now I also need to create a bit of a belly band to hold this all in place. So I've just taken a little bit of leftover and created a belly band that's a little bit longer than that base, and I'm folding it around because that's the only bit we're going to stick down, the bit on the back. This bit on the front needs to remain open so that the mechanism can slide in and out. So I'm not sticking it down yet, I'm just folding it round, and then I'm going to slide the back piece of card underneath that belly band. So see why we don't glue that down, because we need this to move freely behind it. So I'm just going to position it centrally, and I'm going to position that belly band so it's just slightly higher than that front piece of card. And I'm going to glue just that central piece of belly band. I'm going to glue that piece of card to it, making sure not to splurge any glue because we don't want anything else to stick, so that when I pull this, that bit stays where it is. That's forming the mechanism for our waterfall. Now, I have tea dyed a whole load of these little bits of paper here from this notebook because I wanted it to look like a Rolodex. So I thought if I tear off those pieces at the top and then tea dye it, it's going to have that real feel of an old vintage Rolodex. But it wasn't quite thick enough paper, so I have also tea dyed the bits I chopped off, and I'm sticking them onto the back. So I'm just gluing together two pieces to make it thicker. So if you've got thick paper, don't worry. And if you haven't got anything like this, don't worry either, because I have scanned all of these in, and that will be in the digital kit on the companion course that you get today. So we're going to just use some double-sided tape on each of those areas that we scored. So I've used a tape that's slightly narrower because we don't want to go over any of those score lines. Essentially, we want to keep those free so that the mechanism works properly. Just going to burnish those down so they're nicely stuck. So with the digital kit, this will be added in. So if you haven't had a digital kit before, it's just a one-off payment, and you get all of the previous digitals from the last 9 weeks, as well as all of these scans for these Rolodex cards as well. and anything else that we make over the next few weeks. So you can see what I'm doing here now. I have taken off the backing for the double-sided tape, added a little bit of high-tech glue. Here we go. Just to give us a bit of wiggle room, really making sure that I don't stick over the fold line. So I'm just sticking this just under the score line. And now I'm just repeating that all the way up these 10 score areas. So just being really careful, not loads of glue. That's why we're using the double-sided tape as well. Make sure it's going to stick, but without creating a mess. So when we pull this down now, these cards have that lovely kind of Rolodex style. So I'm just kind of going and burnishing those folds and making sure there's no glue seeping out, making sure it's properly stuck down. This will really help it to move nice and smoothly. And so just placing it on the backdrop. Sometimes the first few times we use it, it might be a little bit sticky, or there might be something that gets a little bit stuck. So it might take a few goes. Here we go. It might take a few goes just for it to start to move really nice and smoothly. But there we go, I'm happy with that. So it's time to stick that belly band in place. So we only glue this little back bit, this little tab that goes around the back. That's the only bit we're gluing in, because we need everything else to stay free for that mechanism. There we go. Just making sure it's straight. And it still works. And I'm just going to add a little eyelet in the bottom there. And I'll add a little bit of sari ribbon to that later. So that's how it's going to fit on that flap. I have to keep checking that it works. So now I want to decorate it. So I have cut out a whole load of those digitals from the companion course kit that you get. And we're going to be using these to decorate the waterfall pages. So I love these. There's so much we can do with these. So I've had a real fun. I've cut a whole load out. I've done a whole load of fusser cutting like normal. And I've focused on using the specimen slides, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to create loads of bulk here, because I want that mechanism to keep working nice and smoothly. So I want this decoration to be as flat as possible. So I have cut out a whole load of the specimen slides, and I've got some tea dye tracing paper here, which I've used in previous episodes. I've also got some pre-printed little vellum pieces as well that I'm just going to put in the windows. And then start adding some fussy cut pieces to decorate them so that I can stick them on those little Rolodex cards. You'll also get to see me make some of these in real time in the companion course as well. I think that was from a few episodes ago. But I love kind of making things sort of hang over the edge of them. They're not confined to those specimen slides. I think that's what works really nicely. So I've got quite a few here now. I need 10 for my cards. So here we go. Here's a piece of that printed vellum. They work so nicely in these little specimen slides, these little windows. I'm just playing around a little bit with composition, not quite sure what I wanted to have here. Finally made a decision. I was just using, I've got the little pieces I've got down there are Tracy Fox digital kits. Some of them are number strips, some of them are from her nature collection, so a whole load of things there. Now, I didn't want to have normal brads. Normally I would put like the Tim Holtz brads through here, the metal ones. But if I put those on, it might stop the mechanism from working properly. So I'm putting some fake brads on. So I've got my Versamark embossing pen and some copper coloured embossing powder. And I just kind of drew a little circle, put a bit of embossing powder on, and just going to heat set that so that it looks like we've got metal brads in there, but nothing's going to interfere with that sliding mechanism. There we go. So I'm just going to do that on all of them. And now I can start to stick them all down. Now I don't want these to be pockets because again, we don't want to put anything else in here. So these are just purely decorative. So I'm just going to stick them down with some high-tack glue. Make sure there's none oozing out. I love how this this notebook turned out when I tea dyed it. I didn't actively try and make those kind of marks on it. That's just the way the paper absorbed the tea dye, and I just really like that kind of. That's exactly the Rolodex effect that I was looking for. So never throw out notebooks because you never know when you might need them. And finally, a little bit of sari ribbon in the bottom there, just to make it really nice and easy to pull that tab. It's an invitation, isn't it? Something like that. Pull me. And a few last little details on the backing paper. Now make sure you don't stick the mechanism to anything, so pull that up before you stick anything on. So I just wanted to add a little bit more detail on that back there. So a few more bits of digitals. A little bit of stamping, again using the same stamp that I've used all the way through. Just doing second and third generation stamps so that it's not so harsh and dark. And a couple of little fussy cut pieces that were hanging around that I didn't use on the specimen slides, just to soften that background a little bit. And now it's time to add it to the flap that we created for this side of the book. So just using some high-tack glue and just sticking that down and double checking it still works. So I have to zoom out in order to fit the whole book in now, and I can't even open that first side because otherwise we definitely wouldn't fit it in. So let's see how this sits. It's going to sit next to that accordion pocket that we created in the last episode, and it's going to be on the inside of that flap. So that outside we still have to decorate. So details for the companion course, head over to the website and it will be on the homepage, maybe a couple of slots down. You will get access to every digital or bonus video that I have created for each episode. So there's going to be 10 episodes worth of bonus content there, including all the digitals, including the scans of those Rolodex tea-dye pages from this episode, and whatever I create for the next episodes as well, all for less than a cup of coffee, one-off payment, and that course will just keep growing. So I will see you back here for the next episode. I reckon there's maybe 2 more episodes, maybe 3, until the book is finally finished, which is very exciting. So whatever you're doing, happy creating.